퀸 스트리트과 매닝 애비뉴. 퀸 거리만의 독특한 분위기는 이곳 사람들에게 적지 않은 볼거리를 제공하고 있다. 퀸 스트리트에 자리한 눈에 띄는 바로 이곳, 서울시티. 토론토 다운타운의 문을 연 서울시티를 찾아가 본다.
Seoul City has been in construction for about 9 months. We did start last year, November. The initial design was done by my mother, Catherine Park. But as well, we did have a lot more other minds kind of come together. As far as the construction, I think the hardest part of it was only because we weren't in an existing restaurant. It was very hard in terms of structure, all the plumbing, electrical, and as well we had a very a building inspector who was very finicky, and all that kind of rolled up into one. I guess it took about 9 months, which is a little bit long, but I'm very happy with the finished product. Seoul City is a concept that was developed about 5 years ago. And what we do is we actually take some Korean items and we do different cooking techniques, plating techniques, style of service is all kind of Western European. It also makes it a lot easier for us to pair it up with some very nice cocktails and wines. But by no means are we traditional Korean. But we are Korean inspired. Everything in here is Korean inspired. Myself being a first generation Canadian Korean, I just thought it would be a very beautiful thing to take this type of food that has so much love in it and just kind of transform it and make it a little bit more easier and palatable for people who aren't very familiar with Korean food.
예전엔 옷가게가 운영되었던 곳이라는데 레스토랑으로 둔갑하기란 쉽지 않았을 터. 시공업체 대표의 말을 들어본다.
네, 저희가 여기 공사를 맡아서 처음 들어왔을 때 이것이 그 옷가게였거든요. 그다음에 원체 오래된 빌딩이다 보니까 저희가 그 기존의 그 데몰리션이나 다 부시고 그 새로 파운데이션을 깔는 그게 좀 힘들었고 모든 프로젝트가 그렇듯이 저희도 여러 가지 그 힘든 점은 많았지만 결국 이렇게 이뤄내고 보니까 마음이 흡족하네요. 그리고 이 젊은 친구들이 한국 음식과 이 술 문화를 소개하는 게 거기에 도움이 좀 됐다는 것에 대해서 저희가 좀 자부심을 느낍니다.
Now, about how long have you been a chef?
I've been doing this professionally for about 7 to 8 years.
Where have you been a chef?
I worked for the Sir Corp group of restaurants, which consists of Alice Fazoli's and Jack Astor's, and I worked there for about 5 years. And then I also had another restaurant at Queens Quay with a few friends of mine, and I was the chef there for about 3 years. And then now I'm here. Well, I do worldwide cuisine. I was taught traditional French and Italian, but I've branched out to, I guess you could say, global cuisine, a bit of everything. A little bit of Asian, a little bit of European. Well, Seoul City is based on Korean-inspired food, which means it's not traditional Korean, but it bases itself on Korean flavors and accents from traditional dishes. Well, every other type of cuisine has kind of been tapped into, and I think Korean cuisine is a very special and different type of cuisine that needs to kind of be showcased, but in a different way, just so people can kind of more get into it. It just hasn't really been, focused on a view of higher end type of modern day cooking. So I think we're trying to achieve that here. From the reaction that I'm getting from regular clientele as well as just friends and family, I think the food has achieved what we're trying to go for. Our aim at trying to get the food into a certain class in its own. So yes, I definitely think I'm very happy with it.
We here at Seoul City do have very aggressive plans, our future plans anyways. We are in talks with some people in Vancouver right now. They do want to open up a Seoul City there. And also, we're in the initial talks with a group in Las Vegas. We are still a very young business, a young restaurant, and there's many things still that we want to perfect before we actually put the product out on the market. I think our long-term goal is to have many locations all over the world. And I think the final one will be in Korea because naturally they'll be the biggest critics.
한국 음식을 기본 컨셉으로 새로운 음식 문화를 탄생시킨 서울시티. 한번 방문해 볼까요?
Welcome to Seoul City.